The CCAT agreement, I stated at the last meeting that the amount was $32,304
Yes.
for the agreement with CCAT to basically provide the service of servers to the town of Windsor Locks and to be part of the CEN fiber optics network. This allows us to have off-site servers updated on a regular basis. We won't have to purchase any hardware of that magnitude anymore. We'll be part of the CEN network along with, we'll be providing a service contract with our computer system along with those servers. And it also allows for a disaster recovery process in case of the servers going down. There's a tertiary setup at a remote location. So there's dual systems in CCAT itself in East Hartford, which will be sending our data on a regular basis, having it backed up. If that building came offline or something was to happen, there's a tertiary that backs that up. So we have basically a disaster recovery plan in place, which we never had before.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be signing out that contract and moving that effort forward for July 1st startup date. The next item is a letter from the town attorney in regards to collections, and tonight our tax collector, Peter Jasinski, is here to give us an overview of why this letter has come forward, along with the reasoning as to why we're looking for this funding. I would go before the Board of Finance if I get the concurrence of the Board of Selectmen to get this, the process has already started. But Pete, if you want to take a seat at the table there and enter into the discussion. It's basically, what happened is that with the new tax collector, my office, and the town attorney, at one point in this year's current budget, we had a line item for municipal lien sales. And we felt that after discussing with the three offices together, that the municipal lien sale takes the process right out of the town of Windsor Locks. We don't have any say as to how the collections will take place and to move forward on this important issue. Since Peter's taken place, I venture a guess that with this endeavor of letters going out to the top 20 delinquents, that there's been significant movement on people coming in and paying or making arrangements to pay their delinquent taxes. Some of them 8, 10, 12 years of delinquency. Kudos to Peter with following through on these efforts, that he's actually worked through some of the issues, received significant amounts of money, something that hasn't been done in that arena for quite a few years. So I'll let you speak at this point, Peter, as regards to the proposal by the town attorney.
Sure. Scott would like, he proposed to, at a reduced rate of $150 an hour for his services. Services that he rendered was taking the list of delinquents and sending them essentially a demand letter for for taxes due. And what he also is doing is he's doing the title searches and things on it, just as a preliminary measure for if it comes down to a filing for foreclosure. So because these are kind of upfront costs, he proposes that he would like to build a town, because it is something that he is doing kind of outside, I think, of the scope of his normal duties as town attorney. And personally, just from the work, the little bit of time I've been here, the work has been very effective, and we've collected about $68,000 in real estate delinquent taxes so far, just from that one mailing.
How much?
$68,000.
So the proposal is for him to try to collect outstanding property taxes. At what level is that, and where's the threshold?
Well, basically, what happened was he sent letters out to the top delinquents.
In dollars or in time?
In dollars.
Okay.
It was a dollar amount. The results, 68,000 has come through the door already. There's probably another 150 to maybe north of 200,000 that's sitting in the wings, because they have, I think, till about May 8th, 10th, May 10th. He's on vacation this week, and when he gets back, the filings will occur in bankruptcy, or I'm sorry, in Superior Court to start foreclosure proceedings. So they've been given that extra time period of another extra week, because it just coincided he was going on vacation, to get their affairs in order, or at least come up with a viable plan acceptable to both the tax collector, town attorney, and my office, going forward.
And we
on this.
obviously pay the fees to him, but
We
they're
pay the
recouped on
fees.
the collection.
And he's doing the title searches, the filing fees.
But-
Now, if those don't come to fruition, he's out that money. If they do, if he has to actually go through with the filings itself and then go into the court case, then judgments will be rendered,
Yeah.
and he would collect the fee through the court system. So in the
Good.
interim, it's just to get that traction and get the movement forward, because some have already come to the table and said, look, I wanna remediate now before I get to court, don't want it to go to the courts. So those are the ones where he would be out the time and effort and basically the dollars that he has to outlay in the filings to the court. So we're just saying we'll remunerate.
Yeah, what do you think it's worth reporting, quarterly on progress?
Yeah, whatever you guys would
Well,
prefer,
no,
yeah.
what seems reasonable, certainly not monthly.
Well, no, quarterly would be fine.
I'll be very honest, Peter has sent me updates almost on a daily basis,
Good.
since this effort started, and it seems like every day there's, a new page being turned and dollars coming into the town.
Do you have to make any motions?
I'd like a motion, to move forward to bring it to the Board of Finance so that I can get the funding in place.
I make the
And
motion.
I'm thinking $5,000 would be adequate, just to have set aside. Of course, the dollars that aren't expended in this current fiscal year from contingency would be turned back into the general fund. And we'd go through the same process for
Okay.
July 1st going forward, because it wasn't part of the budget process. We had that municipal line, or lien sale line in its place,
Yeah.
and that was basically just sell the liens and
But
be
we're not
done with
doing
it.
that.
No.
We're gonna
No,
collect it
there's
ourselves.
Too many issues out there, too many cases out
We're
there.
gonna collect it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a lien sale, it really,
I don't.
at that point, you're
lose
at the
control.
mercy of.
Yeah, we're gonna collect it ourselves through our town attorney, and the fee is X per hour, and we need a motion to do what?
I'm figuring maybe 2 hours per property.
Mhm.
So it's
But we wouldn't get it
minuscule.
back.
For the most part, we get it.
Right, and we get the money.
Oh, definitely. We've already seen the 68,000 that he
Okay,
previously.
so what does the motion need to say?
Just basically that allow the first selectman and the tax collector to go forward with the proposal as proposed by the, Town attorney.
Make a motion to go to the Board of Finance via the tax collector and first selectman with the proposal from the town attorney to collect past due taxes.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
So moved. Thank you, Peter. Peter, can I attend the next two meetings if you
Sure.
can? Thanks again. Okay, I skipped over, and it's probably because of, correspondence. And I do have a letter that's in your packets, and it's from the brother of Henry Dang. And I do want to read it into the record only because there's been certain postings out on Facebook in regards to the death of Henry and some of the allegations associated with that sad occurrence that had happened. But this letter was sent to the chief of police, and it was given to me by the chief, sent by the brother of Henry. And it basically was sent on April 17th. It was unsolicited. He received it. He thought it was that I should get a copy of it. Sent it to me, and I asked him for permission to read it here at the Board of Selectmen meeting because it pertains basically to the town itself. And it says that on behalf, dear Chief Assange, on behalf of my family, I want to thank you for the improvements to the Windsor Locks Police Department. I know it hasn't been easy, but we can see how hard you are all trying. My family and I have moved out of town, but we have kept a close eye on the progress of the police department. We have heard and read in disbelief as some of the townspeople namely Michael Bracken, William Russo, Peter Tomalonis, have continued to be unfairly critical of the Windsor Locks Police Department. My brother is Henry Dang. My family and I ask that they stop using my brother's name to do it. Those men never knew Henry and need to stop using his name to try and bring the department down, and let them put their time and energy into moving Windsor Locks into a positive direction it seems to be heading. I am saddened by the decision of the Labor Board to bring Robert Koistinen back. I want to thank those who had the courage to vote to appeal his reinstatement. Please continue to honor Henry's memory by fixing the police department and making Windsor Locks a safe place to live in and raise a family. Sincerely, Ha Tran. I think that basically says it all. We've heard, different accusations, allegations, over the last 4 years being slung about, and it's sad that, let the family, remember him as he was, and hopefully, he can rest in peace. But I thought it was important enough to read into the record, because I know many people listen to the transcripts, and if I said there was a letter, they wouldn't know what the letter said. So, enough said, or unless you have any comments on that.
I have none.
Okay. The next item of business is the Main Street Investment Fund grant opportunity, and tonight, Patrick and Jen Rodriguez is here to give a presentation. Yeah, and Patrick's here to answer any questions that MC
Able to
Jen.
speak loudly.
Yeah, it's okay, this picks up almost everything.
Okay.
Oh, no, this is just to keep you informed as to the motions that are being filed on behalf of WPCA. It's all yours, Jen.
For the record, Town Planner Jen Rodriguez, there's a grant program called the Main Street Investment Fund. It was
Home
created by-
address?
Excuse me?
She doesn't need a home address, she's an employee of the town.
Doesn't matter.
Mr. Bracken, you're out of order.
You require me to
Michael,
give it.
you're out of order.
Mike, just,
Knock it off.
let's work with it here. I get it, let's work with it. Just,
Then I'm not giving mine anymore.
You're a
You know
town
what?
resident,
For
you're
now,
not a
Doesn't
town
matter.
official. You're not a town official.
Doesn't matter. I am. You watch, I will be.
Okay, that's great. Jen, continue, please.
The fund was created by the state legislature to fund enhancement projects in town center commercial areas, specifically towns with less than 30,000 people in population can apply for up to 500,000 for streetscape and aesthetic improvements. This application is due on May 30th and must receive town meeting approval for submission. It's recommended that Windsor Locks apply for $350,000 toward Phase 1 roof and exterior restoration of the Windsor Locks historic train station. It is a $500,000 project, $150,000 in steep funds that are already committed to the town that First Selectman Warwick spoke of earlier will go toward the remainder of the Phase 1 project. The goal of the renovation would be to finally show some tangible change downtown and preserve a welcoming and historic feature on Main Street, which has gained a lot of public support over the years. And I did attach a preliminary cost estimate. If the Board of Selectmen wishes to pursue the grant, then I did submit a motion that could be read into the record. And I'd be glad to answer any questions, or if Patrick wants to chime in at all, that'd be fine.
so you're looking to apply for another grant, correct? For train station help.
Right,
And you've attached a cost estimate in the schedule.
yes.
So the formality here would be that the Board of Selectmen motions it official so that you can move forward?
Correct.
Correct, and I'm not looking for a motion tonight, only because it needs to go before the Board of Finance. Anytime that there's dollars involved, the courtesy should be given to the Board of Finance to embrace the projects, and then to move it back to the Board of Selectmen with the recommendation to go to the townspeople for their endorsement. So in lieu of us,
Are we spending any of our own money?
no, but
We
this
still go
this
through this
grant is
process.
unique in the sense that we have to go through that process.
Oh,
And it needs to go to town meeting, and the way we look at the calendar is the Board of Finance meets next week on Tuesday night. We meet the following Tuesday, and we can have a town meeting on May 27th to move forward. According to the grant
In the
procedures.
rules of the grant, there's a
Grant,
town
right.
meeting.
The governing
Oh,
body.
okay.
No, the legislative body.
The legislative body.
Right, If it was the
And
governing body, we would do it as the board of selectmen. But it's the legislative.
There are some grants that allow the legislative body to be delegated to, the,
Does this give you enough time?
Resolution.
If we go
Yes.
through, oh, okay.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
So we say, oh, this is cool, looks like a good idea, let's go through the process. Okay, excellent.
In all fairness to, for Jen coming here tonight, there's been a lot of deliberation, a lot of work on her part to get to this point, looking through the different projects in town, which would be the most beneficial to get basically the best bang for the dollars that we could secure, with this project. It would, show that there's movement on the building for the renovation efforts, something's happening on the Main Street corridor, and, so, kudos to her and her team, in the building department to get to this point. So, do you have anything else to add, or any other comments? I guess what I look for is, concurrence, or if asked for both selectmen, to say, let's move this forward to the
Yeah,
Board of Finance.
we're on record with that.
Okay, all right,
Thanks.
thanks.
Done with this. One Jen comment, if that's okay for the record. For those of you that are not familiar, the restaurant up at the Teletheater that's recently opened, Bobby D's, I heard directly from the general manager's mouth that they were extremely pleased with the town of Windsor Locks and helping them through the quote arduous process of approvals in a short timeline. So you should know that's, we talked about Park Plaza before, and now that's
Yeah.
great to hear.
Thank you.
Nice
We don't
job.
always hear that, so, we don't always hear.
Oh, you never hear that.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jen. See you at the next meeting.
All right.
Okay. The ethics policy, as, what was proposed, set forward. As you recall, there was an ethics committee, they disbanded in September of last year. The charge from the committee was that they exhausted, I guess what they thought was their oversight into this endeavor, sent it back to my office, asked that HR draft and put together something, to be proposed to the Board of Selectmen. You received your copies at the last meeting for your initial review. Barring any changes, or if there are any changes, that we make those changes accordingly, and then send it on to the town attorney for his formal review.
Here are the things that I thought we should change.
Okay?
When it says purpose at the very beginning, and as employees and elected officials of Windsor Locks, it makes a statement. I thought we should include the word appointed.
Okay. Sure.
And then again, I kinda hate going through this and making nitpicky type things, but, so that was one change.
Yep.
I thought that where it referenced the first selectman, it should reference the Board of Selectmen
Okay.
to, what would be the reason? So that it was the board being concerned with ethics violations.
I think the answer to that
But
is
then there's a conflict,
the board is basically the appeal process,
correct?
okay? And after looking at different ethics policies from other towns, it basically went to one body or one person, and then there was an oversight committee or body that could be that appeal. In this case, it was the first selectman the complaints would be sent to, pending whatever the outcome, the person or whoever appeals, it goes to the Board of Selectmen. So if the Board of Selectmen were at the front, then we'd have to have another board or commission for that appeal process.
Or there's no appeal. This is it.
There should be an appeal. In all fairness, I think there should be, because.
I think it just fosters more bullshit. The
Um,
Board of Selectmen look at it, there is no appeal. If the appellant, is that the right word? Appellant doesn't like it, then get another job, then move out of town. Look, this is a small town. We're gonna argue constantly. I know we are, but we gotta walk away without killing each other. How complicated do you wanna make it? And I think if we reserve it to just the first selectman, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's just, that's the first step. There's another step, and that's why that appeal process. Some of these things can be remediated and they would just, you know, basically disappear and they'd go away, based on actual fact finding, and say, these are the facts. And believe me, the first selectman, I would hope, if it's somebody other than myself, at least I can only speak for myself, is I would ask the town attorney to help me review anything that came before the town in that
The
manner.
board would not review it all?
I would have, it would be myself with the initial blush and make a recommendation or make a ruling, and then if it wasn't agreed upon, then the board would be involved. And the board would also have the advice of the town attorney, you know, if need be. But it gives it puts a process in place.
Okay.
This has been looked at from other towns in the surrounding area, well, really in the state of Connecticut, because a couple of them were down south. But some had the Board of Selectmen, and then it was an Ethics Commission. In the case of the Ethics Committee, when they met, and with advice from the town attorney, the consensus was we didn't want to form an Ethics Commission, that we wanted to keep it, you know, with the, you know, a reviewing body, and that's why you see what you have in front of you.
The other, I guess, question I had, and it's probably number 6 on the first page. I understand why it has to be there, but no official shall discuss or disseminate any information that was a result of an executive session. When such a breach is suspected, that the matter should be handled with a formal complaint to the Freedom of Information Agency. My comments, really? How is this enforceable? And when it's all said and done, so what? But it's probably something you have to include, because we really all know in this room that's just a bunch of bullshit.
Well, you know,
It really
well,
is.
Technically, in all fairness, anything in executive session stays in executive.
But in reality, when it doesn't,
Well,
what are you gonna do? We're gonna have to create a Freedom of Information position at the town for it all? I mean,
no, not from the town.
I have issue with the process, but I get why we have to include it.
And that was extracted from another town's policy.
Yeah.
You know, we try to take the best practices of others and not reinvent the wheel, but to adopt, you know, what's been adopted in other towns.
I think it's just
I
it's a
agree.
frustrating situation.
It is. But, you know, in all fairness, it happens, and you have to have something in there to at least, you know, be able to, you know, somewhere to go.
Page 2, all ethics complaints will be acknowledged on Form 2 and investigated.
Yeah, the forms haven't been drawn
No,
up.
and in most cases, the complaining party will receive a written response within 10 days. If the department head cannot or will not adjust the matter to the satisfaction of the complaining party, then the complaining party will provide the first selectman's office to receive a complaint for first review. So if someone has an ethics issue and the department head disagrees, it goes farther. That's what that says?
It goes to the board, the first selectman, and then if they're not satisfied with what the first selectman says, then it goes to the board of selectmen. And if the board of selectmen makes a ruling that they don't agree with, well, that's where it ends. Unless you use state statute, and then it can go, I guess, elsewhere under state statute.
So what do we have to do?
I just look for, you know, to move this forward, I took your comments, and, you know, I annotated, and, you know, I'd like to move it forward to the town attorney, you know, for his review. And,
Yeah, we should.
and then, once, you know, he's reviewed it, and, you know, with his comments or changes, that, it comes back to the board of selectmen for further review, and,
Okay.
it's adoption.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the non-union employee compensation when it comes to comp time. And it was very brief, it was just to kind of tighten up what's already in the personnel policy. I don't know if you have anything to add, or,
Well, what,
and this would go to the town labor attorney for his review. It's basically, I guess, to strengthen what's already in the,
I think, yeah, I guess it is. I mean, what's currently there says, you know, and let's make sure we're clear, exempt employees. I hate the Department of Labor's definitions. It's not practical. Salaried employees can work reduced hours to offset extra time worked. That's about all our current policy says, with approval.
correct.
So will that still continue?
You know, say work, I think what'll happen is, in all fairness, is offsetting the times, because I think one of your concerns was ensuring that the office stays open, especially during the lunch periods.
Well,
And I think we worked through that. We have an office right now, the assessor's office, both of them are off in a training session, and we have a part-timer in there, and she's been filling in. So the office is still open. If you know, in the case, and I use the assessor only because she had asked some of the questions in regards to, I think she was at one of our meetings with the zoning board of appeals, when they had their appeals, the 3 nights in a given week. If there's a shift in the work schedule, but the office is still open, that's how you compensate. You don't have to, you know, work 40 hours or 35 hours, work those extra hours at night and then get comp time at a later date.
So are we saying, we're gonna hold to this loosely, but we're not gonna say there is no comp time?
Well, there'll be comp time. There has to
Okay.
be some type of comp time.
Okay.
Because there are people that work, in the case of the finance director, 2 nights every week from February up through April.
So I think it's the objective or intention to not have saved up comp time and have to pay it out in a check. You want
Because
it-
if a person was to terminate, that's exactly what
You
happened.
want it used, the board would like it used in a reasonable manner as soon as possible, and we understand that schedules are changing. Just let us know.
The big thing is to inform this office that it's occurring.
And we're,
So that there's at least some structure in place, so that it just doesn't run rampant.
and we're discouraging keeping track of it and saying, okay, I'm retiring, pay me. Okay. That's what I thought. Good.
Okay? So I'll move that to the town labor attorney, and again, for its adoption, once that review is completed.
Next one. Now what? Town building.
Town building committee, that's at a later date.
Okay.
Again, we don't have to worry about that one. I guess there's appointments, reappointments, and there was a letter that came in, I guess, later today, after the agenda. So I guess we'll act on the first one, the appointment of Colin O'Brien.
To the youth services? Right?
You making a motion?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second the motion for Colin to the youth services.
It's Robin, isn't it?
As the youth member.
It was Robin, now it's Colin. Sorry, we're talking.
Oh, okay.
Do I second it, firsted? Discussion?
You made the motion, I made the second, you're gonna, yes, go forward.
Yes, approved. Robin's on, and now she wants to get Colin involved, and I understand he's been very active in a bunch of clubs, and that's really great to hear when you have somebody young like that get involved. Kinda cool when you know him, too. Did we do that right? Are we official? Is it done?
Yeah, second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yeah. There's another letter.
Is this one
Yes.
for RTC stuff?
Yes, yes. You make a motion to move those forward.
I have to do that?
You want me to make the motion?
You have to do that?
Yeah. It's just like.
It's on paper. Why do we have to make any more? It's on freaking paper already.
It's in the record.
Oh my
It
God.
goes into the record.
Okay, proceed.
Okay. I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion to reappoint William Hamilton, 60 Juniper Drive, Windsor Locks, Connecticut, to, I guess,
5-year term.
5-year term to the Housing Board, start
Retroactive.
beginning April 1st, 2014.
Sure gets back
And I also make further the motion with the appointment of Curtis Rucky, 11 Smalley Road, Windsor Locks, as a regular member of the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Peter Jasinski that ended on 10/1/2015, effective immediately.
Do I have to say second?
Motion, yep, I guess I heard second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
So moved. It's very structured.
We have the motion on the
It's the
tax
real more-
refunds too?
Excuse
We
me?
got a motion on these refunds?
Yes, I look for a motion for the tax refunds.
Second.
In the amount of,
$5,989.20.
is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
So moved. Public input. Please.
I have a question pertaining to the new car company there that took over the Passport Restaurant. I'm curious how they got around the town ordinance requiring fences to be no higher than 6 feet tall. It appears that their fence is at least 8 feet tall, and I'm wondering how they got that past the ordinance.
We can check with the zoning board of appeals or the planning and zoning commission. You're asking me a question that's outside my purview.
All right, my next thing is that as far as Miss Rodriguez giving her home address, I sort of object to that ruling, being that myself, Mr. Russo, and I know that he's been extremely quiet all night long, but Mr. Brace himself is a corrections officer. Now, all three of us in our line of field, even though Mr. Russo and I are no longer police officers, there are people out there that look for our addresses that could turn around and harm us. Now, we're exempt by state statute from giving our addresses, and even in court, when we testify in court, we don't have to give our address. So therefore, if she doesn't give her address and you're saying that she's a town employee, we should be exempt as well, including Mr. Brace, from giving his address when he discusses his case.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, I do. As far as
Sure
train,
you do.
well, first off, I want your comment as far as my statement regarding the address.
I have to
Again,
wait for
comment.
Tony
It's
to
public
be
input.
over. I have to follow
Public
the
input.
agenda.
All right,
It didn't say public debate.
I didn't ask you to debate it with me.
Again,
I-
move on, because your
My
time
next
is
comment
expiring.
is the train station. You're talking about doing over this train station. I know that I've been watching that sign for ages, and that sign is not going up as far as donations to that train station. The train station is completely junk. It's falling apart, and I have a question. I've been watching it for ages. There's holes that have developed in it where bricks are starting to fall out of it and missing. My question is, would it be cheaper for the town to have an architect go in there, take measurements, take photographs and stuff like that, and actually level that building and build it from scratch? That way you can start with a brand new building, brand new electrical, brand new plumbing, and build it like it was when it was brand new.
Thank you.
My next question is, or my next statement is, I guess that's it for right now.
Okay, moving on. Anybody else? Sure, Mr. Russo.
I would like to make a request of you, seeing as how you're in possession of the